Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors meeting, May 6, 2024. And I was looking to have the clerk, we changed a little bit of language in the agenda, and so I'm going to have the clerk read it, and then I'll make a short note afterwards. Please go ahead, clerk.
The board may recess during the hours of 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. The chair shall determine the order in which the agenda items will be heard to most efficiently facilitate each meeting. Thus, items may be heard out of numerical order.
Okay, and so I just wanted to mention that it's the intent of the board to allow ourselves time and time for our staff, that as we work through our board meetings, to be able to have a proper break for lunch and breaks for staff along the way. So we try to keep it during those time frames, and so I just wanted to point that out. And I'd look for Supervisor Campbell, if you could lead us in the pledge, please. All right, so as part of our standard board meeting, we allow the public and visitors to have an opportunity for oral communications. And as I've normally expressed, and I'll do so again today, is that would very much appreciate when you come up, you have 3 minutes to speak. And please make sure that you're addressing the board, first of all. And beyond that, after 2 minutes, you'll hear a tone, a beep that lets you know that you have a minute left. And please be considerate of people in the audience, be respectful and considerate of your language when you're addressing before our board today. So with that, I'll look for oral communications. If any member of the public would like to come up and speak, now would be the time to do so. Good morning.
Good morning. During the last meeting's discussion on the 1% sales tax increase, Supervisor Brandon stated, quote, "There is no magic pot of money." I kind of disagree. Mining is one of the oldest, largest, and most important industries on the face of the planet. Our modern society would cease to exist without the resources it provides. There are currently almost 1,400 gold mines in operation in the world. Almost 75 are in the United States, 5 in California. One is the Lincoln Mine in Sutter Creek. With an estimated 15 million ounces of gold in the ground, it is expected to produce 100,000 ounces of gold per year for the next several decades. At today's rate, that is $230 million worth per year. Since the Harvard mine closed in 1994, gold is up over 6 times. The cost of inflation is up just over 2 times since then. That's a huge difference favoring gold. It's known that there is still tons and tons of gold there. These facts, combined with the massive increases in environmental and technological advances in mining techniques during the last 30 years, justify giving it a look. Humans have attempted for centuries to make gold. It was done once in a lab requiring a nuclear reaction, a particle accelerator, and billions of dollars to produce just 1 ounce of gold. Dangerous and impractical. So unless you're a scientist working on rearranging the atomic number of protons in the nuclei of an element, it's pretty much a mystery to us. It's like magic. And have you been to the Harvard mine? Have you seen its shape and how much water it holds? Kind of like a pot. It's the closest thing to a magic pot of money human beings have ever seen. God gave it to us. It's right there, and we are part owner. What isn't a magic pot of money is the taxpayers' wallets. Let's not ignore our county's history or its current position in the world. Maybe gold isn't the way, but we cannot simply continue with the easy path and the same policies that have created the predicament we are in. Placing all the government's problems solely at the feet of your constituents is not the way. The taxpayers are spent. When does it end? Can't we at least try different ways to make money and maybe try to save a little as well? Lord, in your word, you mentioned money over 2,000 times. Thank you so much for these lessons. Our county always seems to be in a struggle with money. Please help us to navigate these difficult situations. In Jesus' name, amen. And incidentally, gold is up over 1% since I woke up this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional people that would like to speak under oral communications? Okay, standing by. Good morning.
Thank you. I just want to say that the Tuolumne County Volunteer Fair has rescheduled their date. It will be Thursday, May 23rd at the fairgrounds from 4 to 7. They don't have the budget they had the first time around when it was canceled. So there won't be a lot of signs and things like there were. From Public Health, WIC is having a little open house, I guess, for breastfeeding on May 8th, which is Wednesday, from 10 to 11 at the library. I hope the Tobacco Coalition comes at a later meeting because May 31st is World No Tobacco Day. And I saw Dan Hawks come in here today, and I wanted to thank him. He came and was the speaker at a behavioral health advisory meeting. And I was very impressed because not once did he use the phrase, those people. And I want to thank the sheriff because I saw in March they published their statistics for the month. And I thought that was really great. I always like to see numbers, and I hope he'll continue to do that on a monthly basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak under oral communications? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back. One moment, please. Hold on one moment, please. We're sorting something out. Okay. All right. So I understand. Thank you. All right. We're just double checking something on the consent calendar here. So I'll call for staff reports at this time. If there's any staff reports, please come on up.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
Andy Groot, Broadband IT. Just want to give you a few quick updates. Our program environmental impact report, the draft version of that was published in April, and it's available for public comment until May 30th. And that was paid for through LATA grant funds. So that's done and available to the public. You're probably also aware that there's been some drone surveying going on. That was also funded through the LATA grant. And so those projects are ongoing and moving along quite nicely. And then finally, a broadband steering committee group met last week, and we are starting to get together some ISPs, and we'll expand it out. This is Tom Crosby's group, and that I attended. And so we're really looking forward to getting that moving and bringing in more of the county players and groups and all that. That's it.
Yeah, I do have a question, actually a comment. Can you explain to the public what the drones were doing and how they were actually saving time and money?
Sure. So the drones were being used to survey utility aspects of the neighborhoods, right? So measuring poles and measuring sidewalks and lines and those kinds of things. And it uses something called LIDAR, which is essentially reflecting radar. And what it does is it collects that data and it gives a very accurate reading without the requirement of having a lot of people out measuring by hand. And so it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of money, and it provides really accurate data.
And this is for?
This is for low-level design as part of its network design. And so essentially they're measuring about 20 miles of low-level design that any ISP will be able to use to put fiber in the ground.
Fiber in the ground. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional staff reports. Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Robbie Bergstrom, Tuolumne County Economic Development. In the discussion of barriers to employment, one that is often overlooked is the need for child care. When an individual is going to work and they have a small child, they need to make sure that their child is in a safe and reliable place so that they can have a full day at work uninterrupted. And in rural areas like our own, this has become a particular problem with the shortages that we've seen. So in order to address this, myself and ISIS, Infant Child Enrichment Services, Motherload Job Training, and SBDC will be holding Dream Big, Start Small on June 5th from 5:30 to 7, where we will give an introduction to the idea of opening your own home-based childcare. This will discuss topics like the certification process, the business aspects of it, managing, billing, and we'll hear from also childcare providers who will talk about their experiences, and we'll have time for questions for them as well. So if you'd like to join us, anyone in the public as well, it's going to be on Wednesday, June 5th from 5:30 to 7 o'clock at Motherload Job Training at 197 Mono Way in Sonora, California. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional staff reports? Okay. So we're going to move on to the consent calendar. We have one item, which is item number 10, which is going to be, we're pulling that by staff so that we can have a little bit further discussion. So besides that one item, if the clerk could please read the consent items.
Okay, item 1, approving the minutes of the April 9, 2024 and the April 16, 2024 meetings. Item number 2, approving the agreement between Tuolumne County Behavioral Health and the Warden's Office, Inc. for office furniture, design, and installation services in an amount not to exceed $200,000 for a term beginning July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2026, and authorize the county administrator to sign all related documents. Item number 3, approving the reappointment of Paul Slemons to the Tuolumne County Transportation Council, TCTC Citizens Advisory Committee, CAC, as a representative of District 2 with a term to expire March 31, 2028. Item number 4, adopting Resolution 27-24 to allow the Community Development Department to accept an award of $2.5 million for the repair and replacement of mobile homes under the Manufactured Housing Opportunity and Revitalization MORE program, and authorizing the county administrative officer to execute program award documents on behalf of the County of Tuolumne. Item number 5, approving agreement amendment number 3 with Adams Ashby Group, Inc. for additional scope of services and compensation in the amount of $43,834 related to the permanent local housing allocation program, and authorizing the county administrator to sign. Item number 6, recognizing unanticipated revenue in the amount of $1,461,148 from the Permanent Local Housing Allocation PLHA grant, and increasing appropriations in the same amount in the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget as outlined in the memo. 4/5 vote is required. Item number 7, approving a letter of support for the Mountain Counties Water Resource Association, MCWRA, Forest Management Principles. Item number 8, determining there is a need to continue the emergency actions ordered by the county administrative officer as a result of a series of storms from February 2023 through March 2023, pursuant to Public Contract Code 22050 and TCOC 3.22.060, 4/5 vote required. Item number 9, adopting Resolution 28-24, proclaiming May 15th, 2024 as National Peace Officer Memorial Day, and the week of May 12th through May 18th as Peace Officer Memorial Week. Skipping item 10. Item 11, approving amendment number 10 to the 2017 through 2019 Tuolumne County Deputy Sheriff's Association Memorandum of Understanding. Item number 12, determining there is a need to continue the emergency actions ordered by the County Administrative Officer as a result of a severe storm on or about March 1st, 2024, pursuant to Public Contract Code 22050, NTC OC 3.22.060, 4/5 vote required. Item 13, approving recommended changes to the Board of Supervisors committee assignments for the Central Sierra Child Support Agency representatives for the 2024 calendar year. Item 14, approving an update to Board of Supervisors budget policies. Item 15, approving a memorandum of understanding with Central Region Probation Departments to allow for aid during declared states of emergency, and authorizing the Chief Probation Officer to sign all related documents. Item number 16, approving a letter of support for Tuolumne Utilities District Lines Main Canal Resiliency Project.
Thank you. So looking to the board, besides item 10, which staff asked to be pulled to discuss, are there any other items that any board member would like to pull, first of all? Okay, seeing none, I will look to the public for any comment on consent items.
Yes, on item number 9, why is that on the consent calendar? All your other resolutions go under proclamations and commendations, and you put this item as a consent item, and I just think that's tacky.
Okay, I will let our sheriff speak to that. He's coming forward. Good morning, Sheriff.
Morning, Dave Vasquez, Sheriff of Tuolumne County. I love that Carol always has our back, though. I'll just say that. I actually oversaw that and had that on the consent calendar for 2 reasons. One, we are going to be doing an in-person peace officer memorial because I do believe that this event warrants absolutely every one of our best efforts. So we will be doing that in person on May 15th. We will also be making all of the efforts to live stream that as well, so the public can be available to see and observe that. That will be taking place on May 15th. So I apologize if that wasn't clear to the public. There's no way it meant to marginalize this very honorable proclamation. Since I'm already up here, I will speak to that anyway, which is I want to read the words that I put together in recognition of this, because I would be remiss if we didn't have them on the record or even just have them sailing in perpetuity. So the definition of peace is described as the ability to live free of disturbance and violence. Every day, peace officers carry out the most noble service to protect our communities. A keeper of the peace is entrusted with the care and safety of the people. They have many titles: deputy sheriff, police officers, probation, parole, corrections officers, and many others. Regardless of their title, peace officers are deeply connected to a shared vision of self-sacrifice to protect the innocent. Each day I reflect on the sacrifice that our peace officers make and the sacrifices that their families make to serve our communities. Peace officers swear an oath to serve the people with the highest level of integrity, honor, and courage. The badge that shields our heart is a symbol of trust in which our community can be proud of. The everyday actions of a peace officer is the most honorable way to celebrate those who have fallen in the line of duty. The ultimate sacrifice of our peace officers have made illustrates their dedication to remain faithful in the face of danger and adversity. May is the month where we come together in reflection and give pause to remember those who have made that ultimate sacrifice. To honor peace officers who have laid down their lives protecting their communities, President John F. Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the calendar week of May 15th as National Police Week, established by the Joint Resolution in Congress in 1962. National Police Week pays special recognition to peace officers who have died in the line of duty. I am recommending to your board to join the state and the nation in the honorable declaration of Peace Officer Memorial Week and proclaiming May 15th as Peace Officer Memorial Day and the week that it falls in National Police Week. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional public comment on the agenda items for
morning again.
consent calendar? Hello.
I'd like to just comment on item number 2 with the furniture. This seems to be one of those opportunities where we could possibly save a little money. I don't understand why it's 4 times more expensive for the same number of people than it was just 2 years ago, because I believe there was 32 people that received new furniture 2 years ago, and now it's, again, for 32 additional people who did not receive furniture at that point in time are now to receive furniture, and this is 4 times the cost. This contract, too, I just would never be able to sign this for my own business or for any building project that I ever had, because on the last page where it discusses the items and the costs, first of all, these costs are extremely expensive for desks and storage cabinets, etc. And there's no breakdown of how many of these items there will be purchased. I believe, looking at the rest of the contract, which is mostly boilerplate, that this will be left up to the Director of Health and Human Services to make those determinations, but that kind of seems like a blank check being written for them. We don't have any real details here on how that's going to play out. And also $125 per hour per man hour for prevailing wage for that particular, for installation of furniture. That seems rather high to me. I believe the prevailing wage for like an electrician is somewhere around 66 or something, or 68. I don't know. I could be a little bit off on that. But for delivery and installation of furniture, $125 per man hour seems a little high. So I would question that. And then also I would question, if with the cost of these items, if this is just a matter of us needing to spend some money because maybe it's a budget issue and I don't know, baseline budgeting, all that kind of stuff, I don't really understand. But if that's the deal, that we just need to spend this money, then I'm always of the philosophy that people are our most important resource. So, if we could skim a little bit of money off the furniture, which is not our most important resource, and maybe give the actual employees an extra Christmas bonus or something, then that seems to be a much better use of our money than this very expensive furniture. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment?
My apologies, me again. I had one more item on here, which was item 11 regarding the Deputy Sheriff's Association Memorandum of Understanding. I just wanted to offer the quick note of how much we appreciate the investment that this board continues to make into our public safety, specifically law enforcement and our dispatchers. We were in dire straits and things are looking up. We have been able to retain our dispatchers even though we were in the face of losing a couple, and we've even managed to bring on a lateral and even retain some individuals who had once dropped out of our hiring process because of the action and the shared vision that we have. So thank you again for that investment. Much appreciated.
Thank you for that comment. Any additional public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring back to the board any comments on consent calendar items. Supervisor Kirk.
I was just going to highlight 11, so thank you, Sheriff Vasquez. Great to hear that. And then I actually was going to, originally I was going to pull item number 2. I had the same concerns since an individual from the public brought it up. Yeah, it ends up being $62.50 per person, whereas years before it was $14.79. So I felt the same concerns, but I was advised that that does not necessarily mean that's what will be purchased or how much will be spent. It's just that's the amount allotted. So I am hoping that whoever makes the decision on per piece of furniture, because some pieces of furniture may be very expensive, others may be more affordable. But yeah, if I knew today that it was going to be $62.50 per person, I would not approve it. But I am being told that there's some discrepancy and some leeway with what's being purchased and the amount. So just want you to know I felt your same concerns as well. And thank you to staff. I'm sorry that I emailed you yesterday on a Sunday, but we had a board meeting today. A lot of you guys got back to me, so that's why I'm not pulling any items today. So thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to highlight one that I think is particularly cool on here. This is item 4, Community Development Department for the Manufactured Housing Opportunity and Revitalization Program. That's great. We have been doing a lot to try and I think make it easier to build and get more construction. We have a lot of aging homes. We have a lot that were manufactured and built during an era of somewhat cheaper housing, not just in price, but in quality. Grants like this is able to help keep people in their homes in Tuolumne County, and I think it's really great. Thank you to Tamara for identifying this, finding it, Quincy's department. It's, I think, really helpful to people. I wanted to also address item 2. I had the same concerns. I brought it up. You mentioned investing in our people. That was the conversation that I had, was saying that it is really expensive. Why don't we go out to, I don't know, my desk I got, I think, off Craigslist, right? Why don't we say we are going to be frugal and cheap in kind of that way? I think the message that sends also to our employees there, where this is something that they will be using for 5, 10, who knows how many years, is that we're also not wanting to invest in them. This is something that will, I think, pay back over that. We do have, I think, some budget stuff. We talk about Prop 1 passing and changes in what's the fund balance we can carry. But at the end of the day, this is behavioral health funding planned out by the department. It couldn't go to roads. It couldn't go to anything else. We have a lot of these things that come up. And it's just important to kind of recognize that this is, I think, what the director would like to see for the department. They need the furniture replaced. And that a lot of these contracts, I'll tell you, I was at the UC system for the steel case contracts, and this is a lot better than some of the other ones that at least I saw when I was a student advocate. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank staff for item 10. This is related to the Stent Schoolhouse property. Oh, and we're bringing that back up. All right, never mind. And to the sheriff too. I think it's been really great, the partnership in trying to address whatever we can do for public safety. Where we There he is. It's over in the back corner there. And to our dispatchers, too, thanks for hanging in with us, because you are a critical service that has to work, and we're going to solve this. So thank you for your kind words as well.
Very good. Supervisor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to briefly highlight some of the achievements of one of the great citizens of District 2. He's listed on here. Paul Slemons, we're reappointing him to the Tuolumne County Transportation Council. He's been a stalwart advocate for transit and transportation needs in our district. He's been on the Citizens Advisory Committees as long as I've been a supervisor. I have no idea how many hours he's donated and dedicated time to this issue, but I see real positive improvement in the roads in our community because of the work that he's done and others on the Citizen Advisory Committee. So the fact that he's willing to re-up his appointment for another term, again, for no money, these are all volunteer positions, I think says a lot about his character and his commitment to making our community and our roads and our transit better. So just a great thank you to Paul Slemons and for all the work that he's done up to this point and for the work he's going to be doing in the future.
Very good. Supervisor Hack, did you have any comments?
No, the comments that I would have already been made. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. And I'll just echo a couple of the comments. One definitely on item number 4. This is a first. It's something we've really been looking for. So much thanks out to Tamara and the other staff that found these funds and are bringing them in. And yes, item 11 too. Let's keep the dispatchers and that whole situation in our minds. We're working on that as a board, and we'll continue to do so. So with that, I would look for a motion on the consent calendar.
Chair, I'll move we approve the consent. Minus item number 10.
Correct. Thank you. So I have a motion by Supervisor Campbell, second by Supervisor Brandon. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion passes 5-0. So let's look to clerk, if you could read item number 10, please.
Item number 10, adopting resolution 29-24, declaring 16319 Stent Cutoff Road, Jamestown, California, assessor's parcel number 059-234-002-000 surplus property, setting a minimum bid price of $100,000, declaring the property statutorily exempt from review under Section 15268 of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and finding the project is ministerial as defined in Section 15369 of CEQA guidelines.
Okay, welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. Thank you so much for pulling this item on behalf of staff's request. What we wanted to do is come before you and really explain there is a minor correction that needs to be made to this item. In the back of the room, there is the revised board packets, all of them, plus the changes that staff is going to walk you through right now. Before I go any further, my name is Mo Frank. I'm the Capital Projects Director, and with me is Leah Morales, your purchasing analyst. And so before you today is an item in regards to surplusing what we know as the Stent School. The county has owned this property for a very long time, and we're looking at surplusing it. But it gets a little complicated. A few years ago, the Housing and Community Development (HCD) put in a new act, and the act that was passed, requires all governmental entities that are going to surplus property contact HCD and let them know that a surplus property is available, and they let potential developers know that if they're interested in doing a housing project, that land is available for them to possibly purchase. So that's the process we need to follow. The inconsistencies that we have is your memo is correct. It says that we will be following this act and going through all the procedures that we need to do in regards to surplusing this property. There is the notice and the resolution need to be altered to be consistent with that procedure. And so those are the two items that we have then inserted into your resolution and into your notice. So there is an exception to this law, or this act, and that's if a property is over, is it 2.5 acres. We are slightly over. We're at 2.58. 0.5? Oh, it's 0.5. Excuse me, it's 0.5. So we're at 0.58. So that's why there was some confusion among staff whether this could be listed as an exemption or not. It cannot. And so with that, the county will then send out a notice, a corrected notice, as you see in your board packet that your board is considering today, with the intent to sell. At that point in time, staff will contact HCD and provide them with this notice. They will be sending that out to any potential housing developers that they have on their list. The county, in the meantime, will also be sending it out to the public to see if anyone in the public would like to submit a minimum purchase price to us of the $100,000 as we listed in the board memo. After a 90-day period has elapsed, if the county receives, as the county receives proposals for the surplus property, then the first right of refusal needs to go to any potential housing developer. If we receive none from them, then it goes to the highest responsible bidder that we get for the surplus property. So it's a little bit of additional steps that county staff have to take in order to surplus property now. With that, we're here, Leah and I are here to answer any questions you may have on this process.
Okay, looking to the board. Any questions on this matter? Okay, I'm saying that I do have one during this process. So we'll do a little reset here. We get this advertised, and then the results are going to drive what we do in the future. So we're looking at bringing this then back to the board once we have more information as far as people interested in the property. Is that correct?
Well, once we'll go through the normal surplus property after the 90-day notice. So after that, staff will receive proposals. We'll look at them, analyze them. Again, two parts to that process as far as the review. First, we'll look at and see if there's any housing developers that want to do it, and that did they submit a bid? Did they submit at least the minimum bid? If not, then we open it up to the public.
Okay.
Once we analyze those bids, we will bring it back to your board for the final conclusion as far as selling of the property.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that. So if there's no other questions from the board, I'll look to the public. Any comments on this item? Welcome.
Mr. Chair, Sharon Maravich from the Development Heritage Committee. As I understand it, you're preparing to sell or dispose of in a surplus way the historic Poverty Hill School. And my thought would be, first of all, would suggest that you take a good look in the attic, underneath the building, anywhere you can, to see if anything might have been left over. Attics have provided really a wealth of things. Secondly, I suggest that you list the building before you sell it on the Tuolumne County Register of Historic Places, and that way you'll have a little more handle on what could possibly happen to this very historic building. And then item 3, I think you should mention to the property purchaser the Mills Act, which is a voluntary program that would reduce the property taxes. But you just keep in mind you're disposing of a very historic piece of property.
Okay, thank you. I will look for staff to explain the listing of property on a historic register and what that implications of doing so.
Do you want?
Yeah, sorry, just
No, go ahead.
real quickly. Of course, it's up to your board if you would like us to do that listing. I think that it would and could greatly limit anyone who were going to purchase the building of what they might be able to do with that building. And I can defer to Mo to any other things about the actual capital process and of what we need to go through. But that would be my concern, is that for someone who is going to accept and take the property into their possession, it may limit what they are able to do with that building. And if that is something you would like to do, just want to make sure that you're aware of that.
Yeah, nothing further to add. Those exact true statements by Supervisor, by CAO Riggs. It's a process, and it's up to your board whether you want to direct staff to go through that, but it will severely limit what's done, what a potential buyer might be able to do with the building in the future.
Okay, thank you for that. And I'm not trying to limit, our ability, but we do need to be cognizant of and look at the historical aspects and closely evaluate the building to see what can be done. All right, I don't have anything further. Back to the board then. Any additional comments before we move forward? Supervisor Brandon, did you have some?
Great, thank you. I just wanted to say I really appreciate, again, this coming. I know it's been a little bit of time. Initially, a resident of Jamestown reached out inquiring about this. We talked about with admin, okay, who owns this property? We realized, okay, well, we were maintaining it, but it wasn't something that was, I think, broadly familiar. Looking through and seeing a lot of the deferred maintenance that has really accumulated over the many years, I think that whoever ends up bidding on that, it will be a really good improvement versus sitting kind of on this really keystone property for the Stent community, watching the roof kind of continue to deteriorate and other kind of issues with it. So I did want to disclose that I did start that conversation with an initial conversation about somebody that was interested in bidding on this. The whole bidding process and going through that has been run through the staff, so I don't feel that there's any issue. There's no financial interest related to it, and I can make a fair decision. So with that, back to the chair.
Okay, thank you. Any additional board comments? If not, I'll look for a motion to move forward on item number 10.
I'll move on the amended item at staff recommendation.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Brandon. Looking for a second.
Second.
A second by Supervisor Campbell. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right. Just a moment here, please. Okay, we will move on to item number 17 under proclamations and commendations. And if the board clerk could please read that item.
Item number 17, consideration of approving certificates of recognition for Jeffrey James Paris, Charlie Tyson Yaley, and Cooper William Knobloch for their extraordinary dedication to earning the rank of Eagle Scout from the Boy Scouts of America.
Thank you very much. And so we have staff presenting here. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Board. Mark Fisher, County Administrator's Office. Today is my honor to introduce this item of consideration for certificates of recognition for Jeffrey, Cooper, and Charlie for earning the rank of Eagle Scout from the Boy Scouts of America. Achieving the rank of Eagle Scout is not just a testament to their skills and perseverance, but a profound expression of their commitment, leadership, and unwavering dedication. Each of these scouts has demonstrated exceptional character, taking on challenges with courage and serving their community with distinction. Their journeys to this point have not just shaped them into the leaders of tomorrow, but have also left a lasting impact on all of those who have had the privilege of watching them grow. As we honor these young men, let us recognize the countless hours of hard work, the leadership they've shown, and the powerful example they've set for others. They have not only achieved Scouting's highest rank, they have earned our deepest respect and admiration. Please join me in applauding their remarkable achievements and celebrating the bright futures that undoubtedly lie ahead of them. So each one of our honorees reside in one of our 3 districts that are being honored as well. So from District 4, Supervisor Half, can you please approach and present the certificate of recognition to Jeffrey Paris? Also, Jeffrey, come on up.
So I'd like to read this so everybody gets the benefit of what this certificate says. It says Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors Certificate of Recognition. The Boy Scout organization was founded over a century ago by Robert Baden-Powell when he took 20 boys to camp on Brownsea Island off the coast of England. And the Boy Scouts of America encourages scouts to advance along the Eagle Trail to the highest pinnacle of scouting. And Jeffrey James Paris of Boy Scout Troop Number 500, Greater Yosemite Council, has achieved the rank of Eagle Scout, and Jeffrey exemplifies the highest achievement in scouting through cultivating meaningful relationships, developing fine character attributes, and practicing strong leadership skills. And Jeffrey began his journey at the age of 8 years old and has achieved the highest honor of Eagle Scout this year, 2024. And the Eagle Scout service project Jeffrey conceived of and completed was building a 9-hole disc golf course. Now, I'm not going to be able to say this camp name right. Can you help me? Camp Leahona, thank you. A camp which is used by hundreds of youth every summer, and many other skills, abilities, and lessons were learned in becoming an Eagle Scout, chief among them leadership, cooperation, perseverance. And this experience has given Jeffrey a chance to develop confidence in the outdoors and practice planning and executing a service project that benefits the community. The County of Tuolumne Board of Supervisors hereby congratulates Mr. Jeffrey James Paris on this day, May 6, 2024, for his successful accomplishment in attaining the Scout's highest honor as Eagle Scout.
Supervisor Campbell, will you please approach to present this certificate to Cooper Knobloch?
All right, before I hand this off to you, the first part is the same, so I'm going to start with the part that highlights the work that you're doing, Cooper. So Cooper Knobloch, Boy Scout Troop 500 Great Yosemite Council has achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. Cooper exemplifies the highest achievement in scouting through cultivating meaningful relationships, developing fine character attributes, and practicing strong leadership skills. Cooper began his journey at the age of 7 years old to achieve the highest honor of Eagle Scout this year. For his Eagle Scout service project, Cooper conceived of and built a 20-foot by 10-foot reinforced double-sided backboard for the Somerville High School tennis courts. The project took several months and a total of 385 hours to complete. This tennis backboard will allow students and tennis enthusiasts of all levels to practice their skills and improve their game for years to come. And Cooper learned many skills, abilities, and lessons in becoming an Eagle Scout, chief among them planning philanthropy, leadership, cooperation, and perseverance. And so the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors hereby congratulates Cooper William Knobloch on this day, May 6, 2024, for his successful accomplishment in attaining Scouting's highest honor as Eagle Scout. Congratulations, Cooper. That's for you.
Supervisor Kirk, please approach to present the certificate of recognition to Charles Yaley.
First, I gotta disclose, I know your mom. So we won't hold it against you. All right. Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors Certificate of Recognition. The Boy Scout organization was founded by over a century ago by Robert Baldwin Powell when he took 20 boys to camp on Burnouncey Island off the coast of England. And the Boy Scouts of America encourages scouts to advance along the Eagle Trail to the highest pinnacle of scouting. And Charles Tyson Yaley of Boy Scout Troop 500, Greater Yosemite Council has achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. And Charlie exemplifies the highest achievement in scouting through cultivation, meaningful relationships, developing fine character attributes, and practicing strong leadership skills. And Charlie began his journey in the 2nd grade and has achieved the highest honor of Eagle Scout this year, 2024. And the Eagle Scout service project Charlie planned and developed was teaching outdoor survival skills to hundreds of 6th grade students. Dude, you're hired for my kids. From the Central Valley while they attended science camp at the Lair of the Bear in Pinecrest. And many other skills, abilities, and lessons were learned in becoming an Eagle Scout. Chief among them, leadership, cooperation, perseverance, and this experience has given Charlie a chance to develop life skills, build relationships with peers, and execute a service project that benefits the community. The County of Tuolumne Board of Supervisors hereby congratulates Mr. Charles Tyson Yaley on this date, May 6, 2024, for his successful accomplishments in attaining Scouting's highest honor as Eagle Scouts. Congratulations, man.
So we've heard 3 board members speak for the individuals within their districts. Supervisor Brandon, do you have additional comment? Or?
I was only going to say, as a proud Cub Scout that did not quite make it all the way to Eagle Scout, congratulations. That's awesome. And I guess in my own way there, the service that all of you have done, I got started on voter reg. It was a lot lamer than your projects. But I found a real passion in that. And I know that now, looking back, I mean, this is, God, how many years later, 14. It's become, I think, a real life passion of mine to be able to serve others and help people. So this is not news to you guys. You do this all the time. But it's just that I'm proud, and I think it's awesome that you did it. Congratulations.
Okay, I'm sorry. My apologies. Yeah, same position with me. I was in scouting, but did not achieve Eagle Scout. My father did, so counts a little bit. What I saw in my life, from my father becoming an Eagle Scout and how he, during my life, what he did, and, leadership, cooperation, those are important. That perseverance one, that's the one that is incredible, right? We can do almost anything, right? If we just keep trying and put our head there, and obviously these three young men have done exactly that. They persevered and they achieved this highest rank. Before we move forward, I'd like to look to see if there's any public comment on this. Thank you.
Yes, there is. Thank you. I've been acquainted with at least two of them since they were probably this big. And I learned all about birds at the fair from one of them, so that was pretty impressive. I didn't have that kind of knowledge. And this is a real community achievement that we should all be proud of. So I just want to point out that our local newspaper, the Union Democrat, absolutely refuses to do stories on Eagle Scouts. And I find that appalling, and we as a community should be outraged. And I know this happened last year. I think there were 7 that were working on their Eagle Scout rank, and the newspaper refused to cover that. So I think we as a community ought to speak up. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public comment. Hello.
Good morning. I just want to take an opportunity to thank the Scout leaders that have led these boys for many years, and specifically want to thank Billy Baldwin. I know my son would not be an Eagle Scout if it was not for Billy. Billy and his wife Florencia donate hundreds of hours to our community, and an unsung hero for sure, and is one of those individuals who may not hold a leadership, an elected office, but has had a huge impact on the future of our community. So I just want to take an opportunity to thank Billy. Thanks.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just want to also point out that in order to become an Eagle Scout, you have to have a community that supports that journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint, as you guys well know. And the parents, kudos to those parents who stuck through and encouraged, I'll say that word, encouraged them to get all the way through to be an Eagle Scout. It's a great honor, but more importantly, they're not done yet. They're just starting. And now they're going to be held to that standard for the rest of their lives. Know that, right? So it's a great achievement, and congratulations to them and their families and their troop. It's a big deal, and it's a lot of work to get someone from Cub Scout all the way through, so congratulations.
Thank you. Any additional public comment? Yes, sir. Welcome.
I'd also like to just congratulate these 3 fine young men, especially Cooper, who I've known for a while. He played tennis with my daughter, and I've been close friends with Bill for more than 2 decades, and Missy was my daughter's tennis coach as well. Cooper is an amazing young man who has so many accomplishments above and beyond this, including section champion soccer player, right? And going to sections in tennis this year. He's been just a great friend to my daughter as well, and I'm just so proud of him. And Notre Dame? Yeah. So, pretty accomplished young man. And I also want to just lift up the parents and just give them praise. Parenting is really hard, and all these parents have done an amazing job. You know, Missy, Bill, great job. In addition to the other parents, it's amazing to raise such fine children. Thank you.
Any additional public comment? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Supervisor Huff.
Yeah, I do have one thing I'd like to say. This whole thing started with Jeffrey's mom reaching out to me and inviting me to a party that they were having at their house. And I said, oh, I couldn't make it to that, but what about we recognize Jeffrey publicly? And then I guess all else followed that. And so I'm really happy that we've done it this way so the public can see that we've got 3 fine young men that have nothing to do but go up from here. And I'm excited to see where you go from here. So thank you, parents, and to the Eagle Scouts. I was going to say Boy Scouts, but now you're Eagle Scouts. And good luck, and we honor all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so back to the board. This item does require approving these certificates, so I would look for a motion to do so.
I'd like to move that
Okay.
we approve all of these certificates of recognition.
Oh, second. That's okay.
I have a motion by Supervisor Haves, a second by Supervisor Kirk. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Very good. Well, congratulations. A lot of hard work. You guys did great. Yeah, we're going to take a short break for, I'll call it 10 minutes to allow some times for some photo ops and what have you here. So thank you. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're going to get ready to get started here again, please. All right. Okay. So we are moving on to item number 18, and if the clerk of the board could please read that item.
Item number 18, consideration of adopting Resolution 30-24, proclaiming May 2024 as Mental Health Awareness Month.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Goldman, members of the board. My name is Tammy Mariscal, your Behavioral Health Director. Mental Health Awareness Month's purpose is to amplify the importance of people taking care of their mental health and being aware of mental health needs of others. Prioritizing mental health is crucial for our overall well-being. It directly impacts our emotional resilience and ability to navigate life's challenges. One pervasive challenge is stigma, which perpetuates misconceptions, discrimination, and fosters silence surrounding mental health struggles, hindering individuals from seeking support and receiving understanding. Eradicating stigma is essential for fostering a community of compassion, acceptance, and open dialogue about mental health. Let's challenge ourselves this month, or this year. I dare you to embrace the healing power of seeking mental well-being, not just for your own benefit, but also for individuals who make up your family and our community. By practicing Sonder, recognizing the unique experiences and emotions of others, you can help foster a community culture of empathy, creating acceptance, healthier and more resilient community for everyone to live and thrive. I'd like to introduce Jen Gould, the Behavioral Health Service Act Manager. Jen will share work of the department, the mental health initiatives, past, recent service outcomes, and numerous community-based prevention activities underway, and the plans for May 2024. Please join us.
Welcome.
Good morning, board. My name is Jennifer Gould, and I am an agency manager at Tuolumne County Behavioral Health. I am here to reiterate that mental health is health, and mental health is just as important as physical health, and it affects everyone. This year marks the 75th year for Mental Health Month. California's mental health movement has continued the theme for this year as Take Action for Mental Health. Tuolumne County Behavioral Health is dedicated to assuring that our resources and supports are available to those within Tuolumne County. TCBH reaches the community by raising awareness about mental health, providing expanded prevention efforts such as suicide prevention and stigma reduction, and offering resources, services, and supports. Some of the ways we've done this over the last year are the expansion of the Tuolumne County Enrichment Center, Based on stakeholder feedback received in spring of 2023, we were able to expand the Enrichment Center to 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday in December. Beginning in August of 2022, a monthly mental health coffee talk event was launched as part of the TCBH's ongoing efforts to connect with the public as part of the community program planning process, to reach more community members, gain valuable stakeholder feedback, and improve internal and engagement efforts. To date, 435 people have attended Mental Health Coffee Talk. It is held from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. the last Friday of each month at the Tuolumne County Enrichment Center. In May 2023, we held our annual mental health celebration and barbecue, where 50 community members and partners attended. I am also happy to announce that we are resuming our Tuolumne Community Resilience Center office hours. We held them in December and January, but we are resuming those hours this week, and we are also expanding to our Groveland Community Resilience Center this week as well. However, we are not in this effort alone. Alone in this effort. We join numerous agencies, nonprofits, and organizations to raise awareness about mental health year-round. Local organizations have invited us to activities such as the Community Roots Resource Fair in August 2023, where staff engaged with 124 community members to share our services and supports. In September of 2023, staff engaged with 150 students and community members at the Columbia College Wellness Fair. ISIS, Infant Child Enrichment Services, welcomed our staff to attend the Children's Fair in September 2023, where we had 230 conversations with youth and families. But families and communities deserve to know where supports, services, and resources are in this county and how to access them. In addition, providing mental health training to the community is equally important. Some highlights from this fiscal year, 23-24, ACCA has trained 99 people during 7 different trainings for mental health first aid. They have also trained 54 people for a total of 5 trainings for youth mental health first aid. Everyone deserves access to mental health care. Some ways TCBH offers that is through our Crisis Access and Intervention Program, or CAPE, or our Crisis Department. Services provided include telephone and face-to-face support or crisis intervention. We have phone support available 24/7. Behavioral health walk-in services are available from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, with the exception of major holidays. We have on-site mental health evaluations in the emergency department at Adventist Health Sonora. We also have a behavioral health clinician available to Adventist Health Sonora. We also have assistance to connect those to community resources. In addition to the emergency department at Adventist Health Sonora, behavioral health provides assessments and responses to the community for crisis. We also offer arrangements for hospitalization and post-hospitalization follow-ups as necessary. And our behavioral health workers and clinicians respond to the jail and the juvenile detention facility. I would like to highlight the ongoing efforts and dedication of the behavioral health team who serves this community. This amazing team at Behavioral Health has responded to 1,188 community members and has provided 5,528 crisis and support services during fiscal year 22-23 alone. We will never know how many people we save or how many lives we've impacted or changed through our work. We will never know how that one smile, that one hello, or I am here for you will change the course of someone's life forever. Prevention is not tied to outcomes or numbers, but our ongoing efforts to help people in our community. Mental health is a priority 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We want you to know that you are not alone and there is support year-round. You do not have to struggle in silence. If someone you know is in need of support, they can call our crisis department at 209-533-7000 or our main behavioral health line at 209-533-6245. While Tuolumne County promotes mental health all year long, observing May as Mental Health Month allows the county to further reduce stigma and raise awareness of department resources, programs, and efforts made year-round. To further these efforts, we invite you all to our annual Mental Health Month celebration and barbecue, which will be held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Friday, May 31st at the Tuolumne County Enrichment Center at 101 Hospital Road in Sonora. During May, please also notice the lime green ribbons in downtown Sonora that will be displayed in honor of Mental Health Month. It is respectfully recommended that the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors approve a resolution proclaiming May 2024 as Mental Health Month in Tuolumne County. Thank you.
So, thank you very much. Looking to the board, do we have any questions as far as what staff has presented? Okay, I'll move to public comment first here. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, not seeing any. I'll bring it back to the board for comments. Is there any board comments? Supervisor Brandon, go ahead.
Great. And thank you both for presenting on this. I've been candid, I think, in some of the meetings before, too, to say that this is something that I know I've really struggled with ever since I was basically 14. That's been a big challenge regarding my own mental health, too. So just so that people know that behavioral health is available, I think you don't have to worry about whether you qualify or not. To do a consultation, to come in and ask for help, to at least get resources into it. It's very difficult living with depression, stress, anxiety, any number of issues, and that's not counting some of the ones that are, I would consider a lot more severe too. A lot of that stuff, I think, can be helped with just changing different things about your environment, your folks you surround yourself with, but it really takes when you're in the middle of that, and it's, I don't know, a paralysis of type. Sometimes having a candid, experienced outside perspective on it. So I know I've gone to counseling in the past. That has been through MACT. That's been immensely helpful to me. Go for a while and it's fine, then you end up going back, and that's kind of the thing. But it really helps to give you perspective on some of the issues, and at least maybe you still feel it, but you understand it and you're not feeling out of control of it. So just this is something that speaks to me a lot, and the work that you do, and thank you.
Additional board members. Supervisor Kirk.
Yeah, thank you for bringing this up. I'll bring up one example. When I was 19, at the most extreme place of my life, lucky, fun, competitive kid, skiing, traveling, and in the matter of a week, I lost everything. Hit my lowest low, and never experienced mental health crisis until that moment. I didn't know any resources. Fortunately, my journey led me to opening up the Bible, which changed the course of my history. But that was an extreme example, and I know in many of our lives, many of our friends' lives, just changing the conversation of it's okay to have a bad day and to think a certain way, but what's not okay is to stay there and to get help. And I think the good thing about this conversation is just like we all go see a doctor if we break a leg, you got to go see a doctor if you have things going on in the mind that aren't right. So it's just changing the conversation. And I'll also say it's very interesting too, as I sat here and thought about it, my son's a competitive soccer player, and I used to be a semi-pro skier. And the amount of time and focus that our trainers would put into the mental aspect of sports just shows how powerful the mind is. So when it's focused and a lot of energy and training into an athletic role, it can also just be the exact with having a bad day and the other side of the house when it comes to the mental aspect of having a bad day. So you got to get trainers, you got to get help. So I just think it's a good thing to discuss, and I know we do this once a year, but at the end of the day, for me, it's about knowing your people, knowing your surroundings, knowing your friends, and having the courage to speak to them when you see that something's off. Because until that stigma's kind of broken down, we got to kind of hold each other accountable and help each other out. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Supervisor Huff.
Thank you. Yeah, we've come a long way since my earliest recollections of somebody having a mental health issue. But back in the day, in the 50s and 60s, you didn't go to a therapist because if you did, you were marked as crazy, and that was not where you wanted to be. It was a big stigma. And so coming up to current time, I feel like we still have a ways to go. Case in point is when we were putting together the package for the property over on Parrott's Ferry for people that need it, that are in behavioral health, and they need a safe place to stay and to live productive lives. So there's still some sort of a stigma. I do like your vision, a place where all citizens enjoy opportunities to thrive in a safe, healthy, and productive community. And I'm going to hold that vision until we no longer other people. You know what I mean by other? It's beyond belief to me that we're still doing that, and we've got to stop it. So I'll hold that vision until it becomes true. Thank you.
Supervisor Campbell.
I agree with and share the perspective shared by my colleagues.
Okay. And I do as well. We can't overemphasize the importance of mental health. I'm really proud of our efforts that we've got going on in this county to help people, and I'm continually learning, and I see more things, and I understand more, but I'm just very appreciative of all those efforts, so thank you very much. I did have one question that I didn't think of before. There was some discussion about the community resilience centers, Tuolumne and Groveland. Can we maybe get a little better explanation? Is that a set time frame, or how does that work, please? Thank you.
Yes, I can speak to that. Our office hours for the Tuolumne Community Resilience Center will be on Fridays from 8:30 to 12, beginning this Friday and probably until further notice. And off the top of my head, I believe we're going to be at the Groveland Community Resilience Center starting on Thursday from 1 until about 4. And that will be on Thursdays until further notice.
Very good, and thanks for adding that so we can, make sure the word gets out there for people to
Thank you.
Be able to do that. All right. So, again, great things that are going on. The efforts most appreciated, and look to as far as for the board, we've got a resolution on this, and I'll look for a motion on this resolution.
I'll move that we approve. The resolution doesn't have a number yet, but I'll move that we approve the resolution.
So I have 30-24.
Oh, you do?
Is that
okay?
correct?
Sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Okay. No worries.
I'll second.
Okay. So motion by Supervisor Half, second by Supervisor Brandon. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay. Will the clerk please read item number 19?
Item number 19, consideration of adopting Resolution 31-24, proclaiming May 2024 as Building Safety Month.
Okay, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Brian Bell, Community Development Department. I'm honored to be here today to request this proclamation of Building Safety Month. For the past 44 years, the worldwide members of the International Code Council have celebrated advances in constructing safe, sustainable, affordable, and resilient buildings and homes. The ongoing support of Building Safety Month is an important role code officials play in public safety for the built environment. The Building Safety Month campaign helps to improve public safety by increasing awareness about how building codes and code officials improve and protect the places where we live, learn, work, worship, and play. The months-long education campaign, which raises awareness about the importance of building codes and the safety of the built environment, began on May 1st of this year. This year's theme, Mission Possible, encourages people to get involved in all aspects of building safety. Each year, the Code Council, its members, and global communities celebrate building safety through proclamations, education events, and community gatherings. The Building and Safety Division of the Community Development Department has oriented all of its services all of the services that it offers toward community safety and economic growth by adopting the key philosophy of enforcement through education and project facilitation. The implementation of the online permitting process, the transition to complete digital submittals, in addition to the coordination and expedited review of accessory dwelling units, and the ongoing improvements to the review and inspection process are just some of the ways that the Community Development Department is continuing to improve and streamline the development process while adhering to the basic principle of ensuring a safe built environment. As part of the overall theme for this month, the International Code Council has provided weekly themes to broaden awareness of construction codes. Week 1 is Understanding the Mission. Understanding the mission, of course, is relative to that building safety is a comprehensive mission that is only possible when we work together for positive change. Week 2, preparing a building safety plan, such as having smoke alarms in your home, making sure folks know how to evacuate in case of an emergency, as well as maintaining clearance of debris and other deleterious materials around your home. Week 3, learning from the pros. Building safety professionals are the silent defenders of public safety. They provide guidance and advice to architects, engineers, and contractors to help them bring building projects to life while ensuring safety for all the occupants and residents. Some of these include building inspectors, building officials, plans examiners, permit technicians, fire marshals, and many, many more. These professionals train constantly to keep up with the latest codes and standards, and they enforce and seek compliance to empower and educate partners to embrace and integrate safety standards into their work. Week 4, engaging your community. We all have a part to play in making sure the places where we live, work, and play are safe not only for ourselves, but our families, friends, and neighbors. The theme of Be the Change You'd Like to See in Your Community by speaking up about building safety is an important part of us working together. I would also like to announce under this item that the week of May 13th, our office will be on several locations through our community, speaking to real estate offices as well as at some of our local supply houses, identifying our new online permitting system and some of the other features we have available in our building division. One of my colleagues, Jahai Dimate, will be attending with our California Building Officials Organization to the state capitol and lobbying for common sense codes and legislation that related to those codes. And we also have some other individuals who will be attending training via online to gain some more knowledge about our state laws and codes in that regard as well. Celebrating success in building safety is the week 5 theme. And this includes, of course, the building safety community includes passionate and dedicated individuals, organizations, and communities made up of everyday citizens. Outside of government officials, those include engineers, plumbers, electricians, and various different occupations that contribute to building safety. At this time, I would like to give a very hard thanks to the colleagues I work with in the building division, Michelle Carney, Joy Otterson, Amy Tour, Adam Jill, Lonnie McCarty, Rick Barrio, Caitlin Ogburn, Dan Coughlin, Jahia Dimate, and Anna Gillis. And I would like to announce that with that combined effort of that team is an example of over 114 years of experience inside of the building safety enforcement and guidance for our community. So it's a very well-rounded group of individuals who work very hard every day to help our community. Members of the public can learn more about Building Safety Month at www.buildingsafetymonth.org, or they can join in the conversation on social media using hashtag Building Safety Month 2024. The Community Development Department will also have other flyers and informationals available to the public as they request. We want to thank all of our partners in our community for the continued involvement and dedication to making our community safe and for recognizing the need for thoughtful enforcement of building codes and the benefit they provide to our friends and neighbors. And we respectfully request that you approve this proclamation proclaiming May 2024 as Building Safety Month. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So looking to the board, do you have any questions of staff regarding this item as far as the building safety aspects or what staff is doing? Okay. I'm not seeing for public comment regarding this item. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for comments. Any comments on board members? Supervisor Kirk.
I was going to say, I thought maybe builders would show up and say they don't like you guys, but you have a reason for the existence, and obviously everything is state required. I know there's frustration a lot of times with builders, but you guys have always been, in my opinion, professional and always been able to work it out. So thank you guys, and that's it. Thank you.
Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. As kind of highlighted, I think, at the consent calendar too, it's just a recognition we got a lot of old homes, and that these are properties that are aging out. Roof issues, all of that, plus we have changing situations with obviously fire and the risk there too. So your team and you are the folks to actually go and I think make these inspections, and that's incredibly important in it. And I think there's a push towards how do we get more resources into it so we're not only able to identify problems, but we're able to go help folks fix them proactively too. And so I think building safety, especially for an area like the situation we've got, with that aging housing stock, with that increased fire risk, with what's happening, I think, up in, why am I suddenly forgetting, but the fire hardening grant that's in Ponderosa Hills there. It's taking on a new role, and for rural counties kind of leading the way. So thanks for bringing it up. I think there's a lot of hope that, again, too, that's not going to be the kind of going around with the clipboard and saying all things that are wrong, but also coming in, and I know I've seen this, how can we help you basically get this? Because at the end of the day, that's the goal, is not to be punitive. That's when it doesn't work out, but it's to actually get things fixed. And I know that I've seen, not just with this, but with code compliance, things getting fixed. And that's really reassuring, too, about the investments we've made in it. So,
Thank you. Any additional board comments? Supervisor Campbell, do you have anything?
Sure. I mean, this is a very important area to highlight. I draw the analogy between if you look at if you've ever flown in an aircraft, a small private plane, you see all these switches and dials and all of these apparatus in the airplane. And the reason each one of those little dials and each one of those little switches and each one of those little safety measures is there because someone lost their life for it not being there. And it's similar to the reason why we have codes and why we build homes the way we do. It's because property has been damaged, people have been injured, lives have been lost because of non-standardized building codes. And so this gives a roadmap and a clear guideline for builders when they're constructing new homes or new buildings, that these are the ways to build them in a way that's safe, in a way that's consistent with the character of the county. And it's important that we highlight that and that we make sure that we are appreciating the people that keep our county beautiful and keep our buildings safe.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll echo the comments of my fellow board members, plus a couple items. First of all, this is not meant to be meant to penalize. It's meant to keep people safe, right? Whether it be all of us, you, I, our families, employees, members of the public, there's an expectation that we'll do our part to make sure that they're safe. And so that's what we have here. Whether it's new construction, remodels, we look at all facets. I really admire the efforts of staff to stay on top of this. It's not an easy thing because it's a constantly changing and evolving world out there. New codes, things come up, and even before they republish something, you might have alerts on things that are discovered that we need to take into consideration during the course of our normal duties. So thank you, very much for all the efforts of staff to make this happen. So with that said, we've got a resolution here, and I look for a motion to approve.
Chair, I move we approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Campbell, second by Supervisor Kirk. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Very good. Congratulations and thanks again for the hard work. Okay, if the clerk could please read item number 20.
Item 20, consideration of adopting resolution 32-24, recognizing May 19th through 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Tuolumne County.
Welcome, Dr. Freeman.
Good morning, Board.
Officially, this is not just an EMS week, this is the 50th anniversary. So I'm here to share a little bit of history with you. As your health officer and EMS medical director, and as a first responder that started volunteering in my hometown fire department 29 years ago. This year's theme of EMS Week is honoring our past and forging our future. EMS can trace roots back as far as the Civil War, when widespread trauma necessitated a systematic and organized method of field care and transport. In 1865, the first civilian ambulance was put into service in Cincinnati, followed by a civilian ambulance surgeon in New York 4 years later. The New York service differed from the modern approach as they arrived equipped with a quart of emergency brandy for each patient. Military conflicts have continued to provide much of the innovation in EMS. The first volunteer rescue squads formed after World War I, though at that time they used hearses as their transport method. CPR was born in the late 1950s, and with that, EMS became a procedure and not just about transport. In 1966, the white paper, Accidental Death and Disability, the Neglected Disease of Modern Society, hit President Lyndon Johnson's desk, imploring reforms as it detailed the injury epidemic and lack of competent and organized response services had killed in 1965 more Americans than the Korean War. And the seriously wounded had a better chance of survival in the combat war zone than on the average city street. This led to the first nationally recognized EMT training program in 1969, and despite the significant need identified, only 12 paramedic services were operating in the USA by 1971. Emergency, with Johnny, Roy, and Rampart 1, brought EMS into the living rooms of Americans in 1972, and with that, an explosive growth of interest, training, and implementation. In fact, singer Bobby Sherman, who played a guest role on one of the episodes in season 3, in real life left show business to become an EMT. In the first 3 years that Emergency aired, 46 of 50 states enacted laws that allowed paramedic practice. On a federal level, the 1974 EMS Systems Act was enacted. UCLA was then the first accredited paramedic program in 1980. By 1982, half of the American population was within 10 minutes of a paramedic unit response. Today, there are several emergency skills that paramedics deploy that match that of physicians, and they will often make assessments and provide treatments that are the same as the initial steps in the emergency department. Our 377 certified or accredited responders here in Tuolumne County are committed to their patients and their community, providing care at all hours of the day in all conditions and often under considerable stresses that threaten their own health and well-being. As we forge our future, I want to thank you for supporting the EMS Peer Support Bill that is successfully making its way through legislature right now. As we recognize the 50th anniversary of EMS Week, we celebrate the achievements and dedication of our EMS providers, both past and present. We're grateful for their service and their unwavering commitment to safeguarding the health and well-being of our community. Please join me in acknowledging EMS Week and honoring those that dedicate their careers and lives to our residents and visitors who call 911.
Good. So, to the board, any questions on this item, this resolution? Look for public comment on EMS. Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for comments. Any additional comments from board members? Supervisor Hath.
Yeah, I'm impressed. 377, did you say paramedics?
That's 377 first responders. That's EMTs and paramedics,
That's
EMRs,
everybody.
emergency
Yeah.
medical responders.
Yeah, that's still quite a few for our small area here, so I don't know what the average is, but I think that's pretty good. Is that good?
We're still short-staffed.
Are we? Okay.
Despite that, yes.
All right. Well, I was feeling very, very confident about that. So what can we do to increase the numbers?
Oh, man, that's a big question.
I know. This is your week. I mean, they're your months, so might as well spill it.
Sure, let's spill it. It is a difficult profession, especially now that you can get paid more serving burgers.
Oh. There's that.
as the entry level.
Okay.
In addition to the stresses on the individual and the family that supports that individual who's working in that capacity. So there's a nationwide short staffing. It's not just us. Nationwide also, there has been a dearth of education to bring people in. But with COVID, the volunteering that high school students used to be able to do fell away, and that has impacted the current interest in the field, in addition to all the things that happen with COVID and the stresses in that. So there's many ways to go about increasing staffing. It's not just one.
All right, well, thanks for the sobering reminder.
Sorry for that news.
No, we need to know, so thank you. And we do appreciate everything that all of our paramedics, EMTs, first responders in ambulance, everything that they do. So I just want that message to carry back. Our board definitely appreciates every single one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Additional board members, any further comments? I'm not seeing it. I've got a couple. First responders, medicals, EMS week. Every single day, each and every day, lives are being saved, right? These are people that are out there. I mean, ambulances have been around much longer, right? Dating back to 1865. That's just a method of transport, right? The heart of it is to have these people working to save lives, to protect people, to assist them in their time of need, and that's critical. And we ask for all of that, and we don't give them near as much pay as they deserve for doing that, for placing our lives in their hands. So thank you very much for everybody. And I will make the motion on this one to adopt Resolution 32-24, recognizing May 19th through 25th, 2024 as Emergency Medical Services Week in Tuolumne County.
I'll second.
So I have a motion by myself, seconded by Supervisor Brandon. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Very good. Passes 5-0. Thank you. And if the clerk could please read item 21.
Item number 21, consideration of adopting Resolution 33-24, proclaiming May 2024 as Preservation Month in Tuolumne County.
Sharon, were you going to present on this? Yes. Welcome. Thank you.
Me? All right. Well, Sharon Marovich from Tuolumne Heritage Committee. It's May, and we all know what that means. It's Preservation Month in America. Historic preservation is an effective strategy for streamlining actually stimulating tourism, revitalizing neighborhoods, creating jobs, saving energy by reusing building materials, enhancing a community's pride in its cultural heritage, and preserving those buildings and streetscapes that are beloved by a community. You as a Board of Supervisors are stewards of 4 buildings on the National Register of Historic Places. And various boards of supervisors have been proactive in preserving Tuolumne County's priceless heritage resources by establishing the Historic Preservation Review Commission, including an optional cultural resources element in the general plan, and instituting the Voluntary Mills Act Property Tax Reduction Program for owners of residential and commercial property, in addition to what they could get with state and federal tax incentives. Preservation Month is an opportunity to remember the contributions of previous generations to Tuolumne County's priceless architectural and cultural heritage. And so what we're asking you, or excuse me, inviting you to do is to proclaim May 2024 Preservation Month in Tuolumne County and encourage all residents to reflect on the rich inventory of historic buildings in Tuolumne County and become even more inspired to preserve them for future generations.
Very good. Thank you very much. So, looking to the board, are there any questions regarding the historical preservation efforts? Or? Okay, not seeing any questions. So look out for public comment here. Welcome. Hi.
Good morning. I just wanted to take this opportunity to remind your board and the public that the county does have a functioning Historic Preservation Review Commission. And this is a very important commission that our county has because someone needs to be paying attention to ensuring that the past is not forgotten. And this commission, I appreciate our members. 2 of them are here today. And I appreciate the time that they volunteer to ensure that historic buildings, historic issues are talked about because sometimes it can be a lot quicker and faster to just move on and let progress happen, but there does need to be a champion for the past, and I appreciate the work that they do on behalf of the public. So I just wanted to thank them.
Thank you. Additional public comment. Hello.
Since I'm here, I'm Terry Brela. I am the chair of the Historic Preservation Review Commission at the moment. However, I'm not here representing them today, although I know that we share, we will all support that proclamation and observation of May as Preservation Month. And I just urge you to please adopt the resolution as you have every year. I believe that Commissioner Maravich has brought it to you, and I wanted to extend my appreciation to her publicly. It's been said that without Sharon Maravich, we wouldn't have a preservation commission in this county. It was the effort of lots of people, several people, not a lot, but Sharon has been the driving force since its inception. So thank you.
Very good, thank you. Any additional public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for any comments. Supervisor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you very much to Sharon and for the comments about the Heritage Committee and the Historic Preservation Committee. I think it's one of the founding elements of the character of our county is that we do remember our history. We've had several different phases, whether it's the gold rush or the timber boom, or we've gone through several phases in our history and redefined what our identity is, but going all the way back to native populations and their impact on the community, and so we define ourselves by all of those eras together, and that tapestry requires that we preserve parts of it. And I think that this conversation is so important, especially now when we're looking at repurposing, breathing new life into our historic courthouse, keeping these things in mind, that preserving the history and the past and how things looked, how things felt, I think is a really important part of any kind of decision that we make when we talk about our historic spaces. I think I'm kind of the analogy I was sort of playing around with in my mind is, so you had the kids that would buy their Star Wars toys and keep them in the box, right? I was never one of those. I would get my toys or my G.I. Joes or Transformers, and I would take them out of the box. But and when you do that, what happens is some of them get broken, some of them get lost, and as you go along, you start to get a little older, and you don't have as many of those toys left anymore. And so you start taking extra care of the ones that are still around. And you start maybe not playing with them as hard, maybe cleaning them up a little bit. And that's kind of how I look at historic preservation, is not that we need to keep everything in a box on the shelf and not use it. We should use it, but we should definitely use it in a way that's conscientious and has an eye toward preserving it for the future, so that those things that become more and more rare as time goes on still exist for future generations.
Thank you. Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. Everybody might not agree with this, but I would say representing the most historic district in Tuolumne County. I know, it's fighting words on here. I know. We got into it last meeting too. I recognize this is incredibly important. Half of my district is entirely in existence economically when it comes to it with Columbia, based on what the park provides as a insight kind of into our past. And similarly with Jamestown, the sense of place and not being a bedroom community to another area. And some of the communities I think we've seen that have fallen by the side, where they are places on a map but no longer functioning as a main street or economic corridor, they lacked that. So it's incredibly important within our area. I really like your metaphor as well. I think these are things that gain value over time. People aren't just looking for another spot with a Chipotle. They're looking for a place that has character and identity, and we have to be able to preserve that. We have to make sure, I think, that we set high standards that are also clear. And I hope that's always tried to be my intention on the board. I only wanted to bring up, too, that a long time ago, and this is something that has affected my district in particular, we used to have local planning committees. These represented many of these Main Street areas, including Jamestown. I've heard there's effort to establish at least a community element, I think, in Groveland in the past. Those community elements that were developed for both of the communities that I represent were foundational to maintaining that sense of history and that sense of place. And we have our own design guides within those areas for Jamestown, for Columbia. But there has not necessarily been the same level of appointment to an entity. I mean, say is that since about 2012-13, we have had less attention focused into it, less discussion forums for it, less of a kind of sidewalk level of folks preserving their own community. And we have had, and thank you for your service, a county level one between HPRC and the Demolition Committee as well that is serving in that role. But I think that more does need to be done there. I kind of had three things that I just wanted to bring up. Was one, HPRC needs people. You guys know that it needs it too, right? We need people. We need people that are architects. We need people that are preservationists. We need researchers. We need community advocates. It needs to be full. It needs to be able to make quorum every meeting. And it needs to have folks that are going to be there for the next 30 years on it, because it is important. Say the second thing is we could use help from our nonprofit partners in it, the Heritage Committee and others, in identifying funding. I know we've used CDBG in the past to do low interest revolving loan funds to basically help Main Street historic areas that couldn't access traditional financing be able to rebuild. This is a big thing for Jamestown. And if you look now, you've got these mixed-use, complicated situations where it's very difficult to get a renovation loan. What other grants and expertise can you bring in to maybe identify something that as a component of economic development we can seize and build on? And I think that would be really helpful. And from the county side, too, I think it would be great. We've had informal versions of this, but municipal advisory committees. There's a lot of changes happening in Jamestown right now. Economically speaking, both good and bad. There's going to be massive change. There's going to be massive investments and a lot of new customers coming into town. It's very difficult where we don't have these formal structures that are at least able to provide an advisory capacity on how things should be. And a recent example was the Clean California grant, which I'm immensely grateful for. Went to HPRC, had some comments on it too. But it's difficult when you don't have 5 Jamestown people talking about the Jamestown grant. It's going to a county committee that's not specifically set up to basically maybe determine what tree is going to come out of that too. So I think that would be a space that for some of our main streets, and I think many of us have these in our districts, municipal advisory committees are a great way to ensure they've got a voice and to leverage that citizen expertise. So it's not also all just on us and all just on HPRC. We're able to utilize that. So thank you for what you do. It's incredibly important. I think there is a way to do this where it is not adding restrictions and difficulty to do projects, to build, different things. But we need to be able to get more people involved. We have to figure out a way to pay for it. And we need each community to own their own history so that they're trying to support this too. If we build that back up, especially post-COVID, I think we're going to be able to set up kind of the next generation of preservation within Tuolumne County.
Very good, thank you. Supervisor Heck, do you have any comments?
No, I don't. I really like what Supervisor Campbell had to say. It struck a chord with me.
Yeah. Supervisor Kirk?
I agree with everybody, and I appreciate I appreciate what Quincy said. We go, but we need to have these. It's great to have folks who are doing what they're doing. I think of like going to Italy, and you see of all the history, and it's been there for thousands of years for a reason. Obviously, we're very young, but 1,000 years from now, we'll be somewhere, and it'll be good to be preserving these things. So thank you, guys.
Very good, and I concur with all the comments. Preserve while we're protecting. The thing that I see over and over again, really important that we be mindful of and look at is how can we use these places, right? It's one thing to preserve them, but if they're just kept isolated and nobody's walking into them and feeling them and enjoying them, one-on-one, so to speak, that's where it really comes in, is ensuring that we have use of these historic properties. So that's something that's always going to be strong on my mind, is to see how we can use, various properties as we go along. All right. So at this point, then, I would look for a motion to approve.
Chair, I'd be happy to make the motion to adopt Resolution 3324, proclaiming May 2024 as Preservation Month in Tuolumne County.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion by Supervisor Brandon, second by Supervisor Campbell. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Very good, thank you, and please keep up the good work. Appreciate it. So, Clerk, if we could read item number 22.
Item number 22, consideration of waiving the first reading of an ordinance modifying Title I of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code regarding code compliance.
All right. I see Mr. Bill is coming up to the table here. Thank you, sir. Please, go ahead.
Good morning. Brian Bell, Community Development Department, here on behalf of Code Compliance this morning with Council Chris Schmidt. Thank you for taking the time to hear this item today. We do have a handful of revisions proposed to the to Title I, Chapter Section 1.10, relative to our code compliance matters in the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code. I will do my best to keep this brief and explain the nature of these changes to grab some context to what we're here for today. In January of 2023, the Board of Supervisors, your Board of Supervisors, approved revisions to the Code Compliance Ordinance in order to strengthen the ordinance. This included shorter time frames for compliance, increasing fines and penalties, and adding fines and penalties for grading and other violations. Since that time, our team, including staff from the Community Development Department, Public Works, and County Counsel's Office, have been working to draft revisions in an effort to clarify and enhance the code language, as well as address requirements of current legislation. The proposed ordinance before you today includes various changes. We had some revisions for minor language to clarify items in definitions, as well as fines versus penalties, various just cleanup language. relocation of some other language to make sure that it was flowing through the ordinance better, a little easier to read, and highlight the areas that really needed to be called out. Updates and information to address and clarify the intent. So some of the items in the ordinance code were a bit ambiguous, so we wanted to make sure that we were clarifying those so that the public and, of course, everyone who has to read this and understand it have a greater understanding and moving forward are able to move in the same direction. Updated our servicing procedures for the notices that we provide. This is an important piece of the puzzle. Due process, of course, is afforded to all persons, and we want to make sure that those servicing procedures are done in such a way that not only maintain their legality, but are also done in a way that can be easily documented and shown to be proper in the case files. So you'll see those revisions pretty blanketly across the servicing procedure section. This ordinance does modify the fines for illegal cannabis cultivation. That's pursuant to Assembly Bill 1684, and that it does limit the amount of fines to $1,000 per violation per day, not to exceed $10,000 per day. So we recognize that each illegal plant cultivated is a violation. So those multiple plants get counted as separate violations when they're enforced. But that does set a limit, of course, for $1,000 per day, not to exceed $10,000 per day for a duration of 5 days. And that has been our standard on the duration of time. In addition to that, we have our enhanced pendency of abatement procedures to consolidate the tasks and the enforcement efforts. Again, really just a way to put things together in such a way that we can not have multiple items that get recorded and or multiple items that have to go to the recorder's office. We're trying to consolidate those efforts and be, again, mindful of streamlining that process. And again, making it clear to the public and or those persons who have these notices what those best steps will be. It does clarify the hearing procedures for summary abatements. Summary abatements were simply referenced back to the hearing procedures. Your board has seen some of those hearings. But the nuance in the hearing language was a bit unique. It didn't necessarily apply to summary abatement in certain aspects. We want to make sure we're clarifying that. So again, a process was very understood by all persons. And lastly, of course, clarifying language for abatement procedures on when we actually have to go out and abate items in the public. We want to make sure that those rules and standards are very clear, and it was just a matter of cleaning those up. That is the extent of the information I'm having to provide here. Chris, I don't know if you have anything you wanted to add to that. Okay, very good. At this time, Mr. Chairman, I would entertain any questions.
Thank you. So, questions from the board. Let's start with Supervisor Hath.
Yeah, I do have one in your strikeout version. Section 1.10.160, and it is the new A. It talks about penalties. It says abatement costs are due also and shall be liable for the payment of a one-time late payment charge in the amount of $125. Wanted to know, it seems low. I know that they also have to pay whatever interest is owed, but I'm just wondering how you arrived at the figure of 125. Is that something that's kind of prescribed already, or I don't know, it just seems low.
Understood, Supervisor Haff. I can say that wasn't part of these revisions. This is language that has been in the code for some time. I can't speak to how they arrived at the $125 late payment charge. Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for that. I apologize. Okay.
Well, is it up to revising then if the rest of the board feels it's low?
Chris, I would look to council on
yeah, thank you.
Additional charges.
Your board could make revisions to the ordinance, but it would require another first reading.
Yeah, okay, I see. So it would have to rise to that level then.
Correct, and I just wanted to add, and maybe Mr. Schmidt can add more detail, but some of the things we have to consider, and we would have to do more research depending on what you might be looking at, whether or not that would be constitutional. So that one of the things when we look at penalties or fines, we have to make sure that they're not considered excessive, so that's why I'm only raising it, because I don't know what the board might be inclined to do, so I'm just letting you know it might require more research. And then when it comes to fees, of course, are calculated based on, staff time, that kind of a thing.
Well, one of my strong-held beliefs is that we're not punitive enough. And this should be punitive, and if it's been $125 for decades, I think it deserves some revision, but I'm open to seeing how the rest of the board feels about it.
And just for clarity, you're not talking about the summary abatement portion, you're talking about?
No. It's a late fee.
The late fee, okay, gotcha.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Campbell.
And the reason I asked you that is I wanted to ask a similar question about the summary abatement portion. We've had, and I realize it's a very rarely, not oft used portion of the code. But if I was to paint a hypothetical picture for you, if there was a property owner that had an illegal cannabis grow that resulted in some kind of an emergency that required a summary abatement, I remember we've had discussions in the past about the process for a summary abatement is actually has less financial liability to a property owner than if a normal abatement process is followed, which seems backwards to me. I mean, if there's an emergency so egregious that the county actually has to come out with fire crews and with code enforcement personnel to clean it up on the spot or put out a fire, if that happens to be the case, there should be some severe penalties, I think, for that. And we had discussed that. I know we discussed it a few times. I can't remember where we landed on it. I know that there was some desire to have fines and penalties, but that's not really reflected here. Can you kind of explain if that, again, hypothetical scenario were to play out, what tools are available to us as a board to implement penalties, fines, make it very, very painful for somebody to create a situation where we have to have a summary abatement?
Supervisor Campbell, thank you for the question. It is something that we considered in the drafting of the revisions to this ordinance. In speaking with council and going over the various steps that we could take in this instance, the noticing procedures, the due process obligation that we have to property owners or responsible persons is paramount. So if they have not been noticed or have been given an opportunity, whether they know or do not know of the situation that might be going on in their own property, that noticing procedure is once again paramount. So without that notice, fining someone without the due process of giving them the opportunity to correct that violation themselves becomes a larger challenge legally. We did address, further down you'll notice cannabis specifically in the violations of 17.67 of the Tuolumne County Ordinance Code. We address, once that has been noticed in the case of summary abatement, that all of those fines would be levied. So we have a situation, that's only 5 days. So if we recognize an egregious situation on an effort to mobilize, there would be an instance where we could post. And then, of course, as we mobilize our forces to get out there, those fines could be incurred on the number of days. But once again, it's serving due process to these individuals, as frustrating as that might be. But it was discussed on multiple occasions in this drafting.
So then the maximum would be, so 1,000 per violation per day, not to exceed 10,000 per day for 5 days. So 50,000?
That's the new law, sir. Yes.
And that would be, we could apply that to a summary abatement or not? That's where I wasn't. I
would say not without a proper noticing. So only on the days of notice they've been given.
Well, because the summary abatement we're not noticing. I mean, that's.
We make every attempt to notice the property owner or contact the property owner when a summary abatement is necessary. Okay. So thinking outside of cannabis, collapsing buildings, sinkholes, failed septic systems, things of that nature, when it's so egregious that we have to go in and take abatement action ourselves, or summarily take abatement action, we always make an attempt to notice. And it may not be that same day that we recognize the problem, that we're able to act. So it's incumbent upon us, of course, to make sure that we're posting those notices, getting those notices out there, while at the same time being very expeditious in taking care of the problem that we've recognized. Again, summary abatement is an egregious, immediate life safety concern, and that's something to keep in mind. But again, it does go back to the noticing. Mr. Schmidt might have more to add.
All right, I understand that. Just one last question is AB 1684 I don't recall us leaving fines above 50,000. Maybe we have in the past. I'm not sure. I don't remember. We have? Okay.
Multiple times, yes, sir.
Okay. So my question was, does AB 1684 represent a substantial change to the fine structure for illegal cannabis grows? And it sounds like it does.
It does. It limits it. I would say it cuts it probably 2/3 or more from some of the grows that we encounter. It's not uncommon to encounter grows of 1,200 plants where we would find them under the current fee structure. It's $100 per violation per day, and so that adds up very, very quickly on these large grows. This legislation was obviously done to try and curb excessive fines, which I'm sure you're aware that has been a challenge across the state. The court's recognizing what's fair, what's not fair. This law somewhat gives us that threshold at which we could find those individuals.
I mean, it sounds like all we're doing is punishing the people that follow the rules and incentivizing more people to break the law, because the people that follow the rules have to pay all the fees and fines and taxes and find areas where this is permitted. Meanwhile, just go to Tuolumne County and have your cannabis grow illegally up on, up on Ibar, and then the maximum liability you have is $50,000, which to some of these grows is not a lot of money.
Your frustration is completely understood.
So, anyway.
What I would add to that is, in the course of these adjustments, our process in code compliance is because the fines have always been, I guess, rather robust relative to our ordinance code, we'll be looking at very distinct separate cases and very distinct fining procedures. There are multiple other violations outside of the cannabis on these grow sites. Garbage, septics, illegal wells, lots of things going on that we've always enforced on and always levied against in the abatement process, but will now have their own distinct recognition inside of the servicing procedure. So we'll be going to continue to do our best to make sure that these violators are well brought to justice, I guess is a better way to put it.
And thank you very much for adding that in there too. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, did you? Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. I agree with the comments. Similar as we talked about and directed and approved for illegal dumping, I think there's a lot of issues that happen in the county. We will catch a small fraction of them. So then what is a meaningful disincentive to that actually makes people follow the rules? I know when first joining the board, grading violations was one of the things that was brought up on several occasions, that we had a policy, you can't do it, got to get a grading permit, and yet, to my understanding, the fee was basically suspended or whatever. There was some level where it didn't seem like it was being enforced on as much. You know, we had the code compliance ordinances come back, and I thought we addressed that. I may have that wrong, but it seemed like there was not the same level of enforcement that used to exist on it.
Grading violations are undertaken by our Public Works Department, our Public Works Department of Tuolumne County. What I can tell you is that the fines that were added in the last revision to this ordinance, I believe, significantly increased the fines relative to grading violations. Right. And grading violations, our noticing procedures are an important piece of the puzzle, as I mentioned before, due process. So once we included those in the health and safety section of this ordinance, we definitely gave the Public Works Director and her crew the ability to immediately go to a notice and order and the ability to fine right away on those grading violations, because again, those become very, very damaging to not only adjacent properties, but waterways, wildlife, and create an environmental concern.
Yeah,
so those are recognized that way.
And I know that was something we brought up and talked about, and I think addressed in that. Before that, my understanding was there was some issue with enforcement that was kind of on that. Point being is, I think I agree with my colleagues that, while we're looking at this in the same spirit of what we've done to ensure code compliance, the ordinances and the direction there was to increase our ability to solve problems and have the flexibility to work with somebody. But for the ones that are really trying to not work with us, non-communicative, outright, refusing to do something, we are not that prescriptive on most things. So for them to be unreasonable in that, we have to have a meaningful disincentive. And the same thing to illegal dumping. So I would support the idea of returning this to have it come back as another first reading. If we wanted to look into any of those fees, I know that would require additional review. But I know when I look at some of these things and see that for maybe a large project, there may be $100 fine for something that could be actually fairly substantial, that just kind of raises a red flag to me that that might be a number that's round, but maybe was picked 30 years ago. So I would be in support if we wanted to send that back to staff.
So your board is aware, when we revised the ordinance the last time, we did go through pretty extensive review to impose the maximum penalties that we could, but we are limited by the Eighth Amendment, excessive fines laws. So your board is aware we did go through that review. We could do that again, of course, but I just wanted to make your board aware.
Supervisor Kirk.
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. So I get that we went through the review. How did we end up on such a low amount? Is it based on other jurisdictions? Because like 125 for that one example doesn't sound like a cruel and unusual punishment. So I'm not saying I don't trust your opinion. I'm just saying I'm trying to understand, because I'm with Supervisor Brandon and Campbell and Half, wanting to be as firm as possible within the law, but like the one example of 125 doesn't make sense. So just how?
But we would have to accept that $125 fee. That was not a penalty, I believe.
That was just a late fee in addition to the abatement costs or fines they might incur. It was just an additional add-on for that.
So then maybe I'm giving a bad example. I guess, are you saying that if we send it back, you're going to bring it back with the same information because you already did the review and that's what the review is saying?
If I may, maybe to help clarify a bit, in section 1.10.070, the general administrative provisions of this chapter of the ordinance code speaks to all of the various different fines based on the violation types. So we had, in the last redo that we went through, we did increase those fines significantly. Okay. Such as for work without permits. With the language we added in there was, you had a $100 fine, of course, and then you had the abatement costs associated with that. We recognize that the government code gave us the ability to increase those fines on revised language. So those fines are now per violation per day for up to 15 days. So what was a $100 fine previously, it could now be a $1,500, $1,800 fine. Okay. And so we're definitely hearing what you're saying and trying to provide that disincentive to be in violation. You'll notice the other ones, Supervisor Brandon mentioned the fines for illegal dumping significantly increased, fines for grading significantly increased, and trying to find those items that are most effective to our community. We wanted to make sure that we did address those in that way. More than happy to look at anything that the board chooses to give direction on, but in hashing those fines out before, it was done very thoughtful by Mr. Schmidt and County Council.
Personally, I want to be careful not to send you back to redo what you already did. I think I just need to be clear. We need to be clear that that was done, and if there's more room, of course, I'd like to explore that, but I just don't know if I was trying to listen to everybody's conversation. It sounds like it. How do you feel about hearing that, Half?
Well, what was it? Was it the Eighth Amendment you brought up? What was it that is determining some of this for us? That we have no standing in making a decision otherwise because it's impinging upon somebody else's rights to due process? Is that what it is?
No, I just meant to, I raised that because it's balancing. There are some authorities that your board is allowed under statute to impose penalties, and we reviewed those penalties, but we also keep in mind the Eighth Amendment. When they get to excessive, there are certain elements that we look at, such as comparing the type of violation versus the penalty, and there must be some correlation between the two. It can't be outsized compared to the severity of a violation. So that's one element we look at. We always look at. So
it seems kind of discretionary unless it's in black and white somewhere. So how is that defined, and who defines it? Does our county council define it for our board?
Not necessarily.
I'm sorry. The courts define it. So when we do a review of the ordinance, and we're not suggesting that we won't do it again, but I do. So when we do a review of the ordinance, we look at court cases or maybe AG opinions. We look to see kind of where the courts are guiding us in order to make your ordinance code defensible. So when we've had cases, specifically cannabis cases, our fines pursuant to our current ordinance, which is being recommended to be modified, have been in the millions of dollars. So when we then proceed, your board takes action, we get sued, we go to court, that piece of our ordinance is not defensible, and the county has been in a difficult position to try to recoup $2 million fine. So what we are suggesting by this change is that we are trying to bring things in line. But I do, as Mr. Bell pointed out, if you look at the ordinance, and again, it's 1.10.070, it actually lays out a lot of different types of the fines, the amounts, or the penalties. So under the government code, which is sort of the first thing that we talk about, is for unspecified violations, it's 100 for the first violation, 200 for the second, and then 500 for each additional. But then we go in and we specify other types of violations, and you'll see that those are substantially bigger than what is in C1. C1 comes straight from the government code. So we have a lot of cases and that we can look at, or law authority from the state, to say that that fine is justified, that your board, in adopting the ordinance, it would be a defensible ordinance. Then you start looking at the additional provisions, and you'll see where the fines go up pretty dramatically. And that was not done that long ago. So I think those fines probably fit in line with what your board's talking about. If there are other fines or other things that you're interested in, we're happy to look at them. When it comes to fees, fees are calculated, and it's a strict calculation, so we really need to be have evidence to support the fee that we're charging. So the 125, I think it was worded as a fee. We can always relook at that, but that's probably based on staff time, that type of a thing. I hope that provides more clarity.
Thank you.
If I may also, thank you, Ms. Carrillo, I would also offer that in addition to the fines that are listed in 070, there are abatement costs that are set by board resolution that are charged to recoup staff time, and we have the ability in that side of that resolution to bill hourly beyond those costs should we encounter a situation that requires lots of staff time or council time to recoup and at least balance. Obviously, there's no profit there. So.
All right. Well, I think you can appreciate that the board has some frustrations here still. Realize we're making progress, right? We're moving forward here. But I, as well as my fellow board members, I think have clearly stated that we still have some concerns. What I would suggest is that we today move forward with what we have, but also look to staff to take a little bit more of a look at this, and we can bring something back in the future still to make some additional changes. This whole summary abatement thing, that was pretty raw in my mind, I know, and other board members. We saw stuff that was flagrant, done without regard and knowingly. We could see this, and that's wrong. We want to, we don't want to overburden people, but on the other hand, if you don't make enough of a deterrent here to, get somebody to wake up and take notice, then we're likely to see these same or similar problems continue. And so we need to, keep nibbling away at this and figure out, I can't say right now where the best, where we'll land best is a constantly evolving thing, but by all means, as we take another look at this, reach out, discuss with the board members, get some thoughts. Sometimes I know you guys you're busy doing a lot of great staff work, but sometimes our interactions are somewhat limited, and then we have to, be cognizant of things like the Brown Act and, how we, have our discussions, as well. So I think we're all pretty well in line with that thought. Appreciate definitely the work. We've got some ways, roads that we still need to explore here to do a bit more.
Understood, sir.
Okay. So, with that said, looking to the board, if I had the concurrence of the board, I believe we're very similar in our thinking that we move forward today, and if so, I'd look for. Okay, so first reading in this case, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure procedurally wise, do we have to open anything up on
Just
this?
need public comment, and then your board can proceed with the first reading.
So at this point, let's go to public comment. Is there anybody in the public that would like to speak to the matter of what we're addressing today? Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. That got heavy pretty quick, huh? Almost a little scary to come up here. It's belated. Mike Lemke, representing Tolman County building industry. We absolutely belated support the Building Safety Month. Thank you. Because that general topic also leads us to the topic at hand right now. There's nothing that upsets the professionals in our community who are licensed, insured, have employees that we're trying to keep on hand, our liabilities, warranty work, etc., than to see some bootleg operation across the street, grossly violating things, doing things that are damaging our professional names in the industry, devaluing our neighborhood property values, etc. We wholeheartedly support code enforcement and doing things right and making the effort. It does make the topic does get a little scary, because as I was reading the example items on the very top list was building codes, grading violations, encroachments, etc. And then we spend the bulk of our time kind of sandwiching us there with illegal cultivation activities from some mule operation up in the hills, and how do we take care of these bad guys? That gets us it's a little scary. We understand we understand the intent, and it's going to come down to interpretation and application and how this would actually get chased out. There is obviously a difference between somebody trying to do a kitchen renovation or building a structure, building, et cetera, where you're encroaching in the land, you're doing a grading operation, you're trying to build stuff. When you have inspections, that will be from 6 to a dozen different inspections on a house, and the inspector comes out, it will notice correction items that are essentially code violations and that they need to be addressed. That is its own little segment. By the amount of exposure that some of our professionals have out there, we're engaged with these things every single day on multiple job sites. We understand the operation that's got some bootleg thing tapping into something that's creating a health safety hazard. There's a little bit of a difference. I don't want to be afraid to come to work in the morning, but I don't want the bad guys across the street doing things that are hurting our community. Keeping that in mind and how these things are addressed and determined in the future is a big help. I just wanted to point that out because we spent most of our time talking about the worst elements, and it can bleed on over. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for your comments. Any additional public comment? I'll just make one in response to a member of the public that just spoke, is that, we typically, right, we have a few bad actors make things messy and not so nice, and get associated, the industry as a whole gets associated when that's undeserved in many cases, in most cases. So we do need to address, and I've always been a proponent that we address the problems directly, head on, that we don't just encompass and come out with one big fat rule that addresses everything, because that's undeserved. Sometimes that puts other, parties in a bad situation because they're really trying to do what's right. And so, okay, so if we're set there, I don't see any further public comments, so I'll bring it back to the board.
Chair, I agree with the approach that you outlined. I think staff here is loud and clear that, we're looking for as many fines as possible. We want our county to have a reputation for being not the place you want to go if you're doing things wrong. And I think this is a clear-cut case of if you are following the rules or even at least attempting to follow the rules, you have nothing to worry about. This is not about people making minor mistakes in building projects, forgetting to put the strap around the water heater outlet or different things. It's not about that. We're talking about the egregious, clear health and safety violations, things that are causing danger to communities, and often, without naming anything specific, often these things are related to activity that's illegal in the first place. So I'm all for throwing the book at them as much as possible. So I'm in favor of proceeding with Title I, modifying the ordinance today, and then looking for ways to levy additional fines where possible. I understand the arguments that you're making about undue fines and fees and how that's structured, but there's got to be some way we can, at least with the fines, seems like there's much more flexibility there. So even if there isn't with the fees.
So I believe we're almost there on the motion.
So I'll make a motion if you want.
And I need to make a comment
Okay,
too.
please go
I'm
ahead.
willing to let go of my one comment or question that I had earlier, but I do need to make a statement, and this is not with respect to the legal building community, and yeah, I don't want them to feel afraid either, but there has to be something that we can do. Maybe it's legislatively, because the what we're calling bad actors, I'm going to call them out. They're most often illegal people that are here making millions of dollars and polluting our streams, our land, with their marijuana cultivation and just raping the land, basically. And it really gripes me that we're more concerned about their Eighth Amendment rights, because it's a protection for them. And we've got to find some more reasonable way through this. We've got to be able to help recoup the damage that they've done, and these little picayune fines or going in and abating it because it's such a problem, an emergency in our case, where they don't have to do that at all is not the right route. And I know today is not the day to do that. I'm gonna go along with the rest of the board, but we have to figure out a way through this because it's just wrong.
I'll second Supervisor Campbell's motion.
Okay, so I think direction is quite clear here. Really appreciate, again, the work that was done, and so I'll look for, I have a motion by Supervisor Campbell.
I move the board waive the first reading of the ordinance modifying Title I.
And the second was by Supervisor Brandon. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain?
And I'll add to set a second reading for May 21st, 2024.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, we've worked through our normal agenda items. We have a 1:30 appointment still that, unfortunately, just like we talked about today, we want to leave room for lunchtime, and sometimes we get done a little bit earlier, yet we can't take an item because we have procedures that we need to follow.
You want to do reports?
So I'd look to do reports if the board would like, if you're prepared to do so. And who would like to start?
I'll start. I'm just going to
Supervisor.
go off the top with yesterday. I attended a second annual First Responder Barbecue Appreciation Day in Groveland for all the first responders in the county. It wasn't as well attended as the first one, but it was still meaningful, and I just wanted to highlight that in my reports. I didn't prepare for reports, so that's the only thing I'm going to mention right now.
Thank you. Supervisor Kirk.
I didn't prepare either, but off the top of my head, went to the CSAC conference. We can report out on that another day when I get my notes. Also still participating in the Highway 108 conversation. District 9 has got over the pass and they're pushing down. I believe they were about 100 feet from the top on Friday, so I know they're over the top now pushing down. And that's big for economics trying to get that open. But then we just got hit with all that snow. So I'm going to be looking at my emails for an update as far as when the pass will be open. But it is open to Kennedy's on our side for trout season. And then I've noticed that we've been getting more cars dumped up in the Miwok area, basically Confidence area. More people are moving up the hill to drop crap off. So I want to thank the Sheriff's Department. They've been very respondent to a lot of citizens' concerns up there. And also we found a homeless camp on some private property back on the backside of Miwok. We all live in a high fire zone, but on the back of a hill in Miwok is not a good spot. So we got permission from the owners. Yes, they were in fact trespassing, so they hit that. And I want to thank the Sheriff's Department for doing that. They also made some arrests because there's some outstanding warrants. So that's it for my reports off the top of my head.
Supervisor Campbell.
Thank you, Chair. I had a busy weekend. So yesterday, Sunday, I was at the Neighborhood Association meeting for Ridgewood. The day before that, I was at the a meeting of the League of Women Voters, and then also at the Tuolumne County Library's book sale. Before that, on Thursday, I held a town hall meeting. It's the first one we've held this year for District 2 in Willow Springs. It was pretty well attended. We had maybe not quite 20 people there, which is pretty good for a sunny Thursday evening, which it was sunny that day, even though it snowed the following day. One of the topics that I talked about was Title 17, some of the new developments that are happening in the Salisburyville area, and just kind of weighing what the community's feelings were about future development. I haven't made any secret about the fact that I think we need more housing, we need more development specifically in that area. That's why I wanted to hold the town hall in that community, because it traditionally has had, it's traditionally been pretty opposed to development. Whether we go back to the Dollar General being built there next to Salisburyville, or you go to some of the housing developments that have been proposed and have failed over the years for various reasons. But I was pleasantly surprised. It seemed everybody at the meeting was realized that we need more housing, we need more opportunities for families and people to come in, get jobs, have places to live that they can afford. So I was really impressed by that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, so I sat on a LAFCO meeting on Monday with Supervisor Goldenberg. I don't know, LAFCO is, the meetings are quite a strain, because it seems like we're pretty aimless. Like there's, I think, a lot of misunderstanding amongst LAFCO, some of the LAFCO members, present company excluded, about what LAFCO does, and I don't know if we need more education or what, but we're trying to get MSAs done, and we keep getting in our own way on LAFCO. So not a lot not a lot of accomplishments in that commission to tout over the past 4.5 months, I'm sorry to say. So that's one challenge that I think we're kind of facing, and that I wish more people were paying attention to what was going on there, because it affects the entire county and not just special districts or the city. But if you are in attendance to those meetings, pretty much the only perspectives you're going to hear is from special districts. So myself and Supervisor Goldenberg, we try to be strong advocates for the entire county, inclusive of special district, city, everybody. So hopefully we can find a way forward with that in mind. I think I'll end it there. Thank you very much, Chair.
Very good. Supervisor Brandon.
Great, thank you. Wanted to start with something just to recognize a long-time community advocate who's recently passed away. Some of you may have known Lloyd Schneider for his work. He served on the ADCA board, where Supervisor Campbell and I have had the privilege of working with him, and Supervisor Goldenberg as well, formerly. And he was one of those people that's given 30, 40 years of his life to community service, and it was a real pleasure being on there with him. He was somebody that was so moved on some of these issues of helping people that you could see him tear up. and just somebody that cared so passionately. Wanted to mention that we have been speaking with staff about the implementation of the Clean and Clear ordinance. It is now in effect. I know that there was a meeting, I believe, on Tuesday about that and discussing applying it to a few sites, but just an appreciation too as we move forward, the Safe Stay facility, that this is a huge issue for particularly the community of Jamestown. We don't have as much illegal dumping. I know I've been up to Mount Provo and cleaned so many yards up there too. This is something that just the down the hill nature of the environment, it really gets hit from a lot of the rest of the county. So this is going to be a major improvement there. I do think that there are some things and I know we've talked about this at the priority session on main streets, and I think that was talking about placemaking, it was talking about parks, it was kind of a broad sentiment to it. I really do like that focus, because I know in particular Jamestown we're trying to deal with the sanitation issue for the garbage cans. It doesn't sound like a big deal until you realize that is where all the garbage goes. And a guy was quietly paying that for $3,000 a year until he passed away. So then who takes over? One thing in looking at that is noting that most of our communities have other entities. We have GCSD, Twin RCSD, we've got different Parks and Recreation District in Tuolumne, the city of Sonora. Across most major communities, there is some entity that can kind of help with it. Jamestown is the one place that really is truly under the entire county. It is something that does not have another entity that's there, that's a representative unit. When I lost the Planning Commission, that's been gone. And so, any focus we can provide in that, I know we're looking at that for economic development. That's really important. Columbia celebrates Cinco de Mayo. It's a little bit rainy, but this is the third annual one. Gave a presentation there. They've commissioned a replica of the sword that was created to give to General Zaragoza. Gold with the engraving and jewel and crescent. It's absolutely beautiful. So if you haven't, go check out the museum in Columbia. They've got a whole exhibit talking about the importance of the event, and it's really trying to add a historical context to what is often kind of a drinking party holiday, to say, not only was it founded here, this is something that was really important. Had that battle not gone that way, potentially the French could have gone up, created a French colony, supported the Confederacy, and we might have seen the Civil War go a different way. So it was one of those huge turning points in that war. Judge speed and debate competition in Yosemite about sustainability practices, and got to talk with one of the folks from these urban areas, a little bit about some of the real life checks on proposals. That was really helpful. Had a really great meeting with the 4-H advisor and superintendent of schools, Abernathy, about the idea of trying to do a partnership as we have our MCP with other counties for additional 4-H presence in schools. They're just a very ready-made program to basically do leadership, after school programs, speech and debate, sparks. I mean, they do robotics. They're not just only ag too. The more we can partner with them, I think it could get more kids into that pathway. I've finished reviewing the 300-page Sierra Business Council regional summary report as part of the California Jobs First initiative, and provide a lot of comments. We've had 3 people so far provide comments on that, so anybody in the audience, Mike and Tom, if you guys would like to go through and read 300 pages line by line, yeah, there we go. We could use more comments just to make sure our projects and priorities are kind of on there. And I'm also going to be joining the Small Business Development Council Board, Advisory Board for the Central Valley region. I met with German recently to discuss that. I think that's really cool, because an SBA loan is actually what helped my family be able to start our business. And then the last thing I was going to include, sorry, I know we haven't had updates for a while and it's been a little busy, was I've been working on looking at solar as a potential economic development opportunity. I know I brought this up at the priority planning workshop, but there's a second company that is interested in a project within the county, whether we would pursue some type of partnership on federal land or acquisition, or a purely private initiative. We could be talking about several $100 million of property tax investment or property improvement, leading to revenue, plus fee recovery, plus some jobs coming in to a new industry that I think has real potential here. So we're continuing those conversations with staff to hopefully bring forward some kind of proposal. But I see this as something where we're looking at revenue to show people we're doing everything we can, resorts, housing, to try and solve the situation that we've had for decades, that these are other tools that are there too. So if, I guess, one of you has questions, please feel free to let me know. I think this is really exciting, and it could be a game changer for the people that own those properties and for the county, and have some fringe benefits too, and ZEV, lower utility rates. I think that could be a part of it as well. So, Chair?
Very good. I would like to be the one of us that meets with you and discusses solar further in some areas. So let's do that. Okay, what have I got going? Lots of different things. Continued, meetings with the city of Sonora. Fire Safe Council attended their meeting this last week. They're doing great work. A lot of projects going on. It's been extremely helpful to have our GIS folks and OES and everybody come together, creating the storyboard, showing all the efforts of these fuel modification projects throughout the county. The CWPP, the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, is out. It's all signed off now, and that's going to bring different opportunities will come out of that, because some grant opportunities were not available because we had a dated plan. So that's good. We did some siren testing, actually the same day as the Fire Safe Council meeting. Supervisor Kirk and I were both out at the AOC and monitored that and looked at it, and it's what a test is all about, right? To see where we're at and to get a reading. We had ham radio folks were there, very valuable in performing a service because they had somebody in the AOC in contact with them, and so we could get on the spot takes as far as if people could hear sirens. There was some difficulties, but that's good. We're gonna look at scheduling another test in another month or so, and iron out some of these things. The areas, one of the things is there's some different types of systems, how they're made up. So I attended the Sheriff's Town Hall at the fairgrounds at the Manzanita building, just a public meeting. Sheriff Vasquez is doing a kind of a rotating, throughout the county. So that's good. I'm glad to see that the sheriffs got out there. I'm impressed with the sheriff, with the actions that he's taking. Cinco de Mayo, I stayed out of the rain, but my wife and I were out there yesterday and enjoyed it, and there was lots of things still going on yesterday. Excuse me. And so I'll close as well. Just touching upon LAFCO as Supervisor Campbell did. We've got some things there that need to be straightened out and sorted out. What LAFCO is supposed to be doing is looking at our county, our communities as a whole, and seeing what we can do to make improvements and make things be efficient. And unfortunately, we have some struggles within LAFCO, and there's some agendas that are being put forth by other entities, some of the districts and other folks, and we need to get beyond that. We can do better, and we should do better. And we're looking at, we've got another LAFCO meeting coming up here, another week and a half, and some of these things, some confusion and where we're going revolved around some of the issues like Jamestown Sanitary District and the moratorium. We have invited Jamestown Sanitary District to present before LAFCO, and hopefully they will show up and do so we can understand from their perspective where they're at, because part of it may very well be some miscommunications that need to get sorted out too. So other than that, I have nothing further. Any additional staff reports reporting out? CEO Riggs, County Council, are there? Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to break for lunch because we do have one other appointment, which is at 1:30. So we're going to break until 1:30, and then we'll come back. I anticipate that appointment should move, pretty quickly. I know there's several board members that have some travel plans, looking to go into a conference, and so we'll come back at 1:30 and finish up. So thank you, everyone. Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors meeting. And we are reconvening the meeting, and we have just one item left on the agenda, which is our 1:30 p.m. appointment. If we can get the clerk to please read.
1:30 p.m. Public hearing, consideration of adopting Resolution 34-24, appointing Blossom Scott Heim, P.E., Acting Public Works Director as Interim Road Commissioner for the County of Tuolumne pursuant to California Street and Highways Code, Section 2006.
Very good. And I understand our CAO Riggs has a couple of words to introduce this, please.
Good afternoon, Tracy Riggs, County Administrator's Office.
Sorry to interrupt, but if we could open the public hearing.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. We will open the public hearing. Okay.
Okay. So I'm just here to clarify that currently, as you know, the former Public Works Director had resigned as of April 12th, and Blossom Scott Heim is filling in right now as the Acting Director. We do need to assign the duties of the Road Commissioner, and they are interim. Those will be interim until you do a final appointment, hopefully at some point in this month. So we will bring that back to you once you make a final appointment. This is interim only. Thank you.
Very good. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Board. This item is to appoint the interim road commissioner for the County of Tuolumne. California Streets and Highways Code requires that a Board of Supervisors appoint a qualified person who is a registered civil engineer to be the road commissioner in order to receive highway user tax funds. On April 12th, the former Public Works Director resigned, giving the need for an interim road commissioner. It is recommended that your board appoint Blossom Scott Heim, Acting Public Works Director, as interim road commissioner for the County of Tuolumne.
Very good. So, looking to the board, are there any questions from the board?
Just does it feel awkward appointing yourself?
Yes.
No question.
Well, she's just asking for the appointment. We still have to pull the trigger on it, so.
Okay, so no other questions, I presume. Any public comment? Okay, so I'm not seeing any public comments, so I believe...
Let the record show there were thumbs up, seen in the
Sign
audience.
language, okay, gotcha. And,
a lot of hand gestures.
So I believe that we can close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for final comments and a motion. So anybody have some comments that they'd like? Supervisor Hath.
My comment is yes. Absolutely.
Pretty succinct.
Yeah.
Anybody
From
else?
the words of the Moses movie, so let it be written, so let it be done. Since we're laughing.
Supervisor Brandon, did you?
Couldn't think of a better person.
Okay. It seems like we've got some pretty good support here to move forward with this. So in that case, I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I'll move that we adopt Resolution 34-24.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion by Supervisor Campbell, seconded by Supervisor Happ. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? So we're done there.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the work. So, folks, with that, we have concluded the last item on our agenda. So, and we did our reports earlier before lunch. So, I'm going to close out the Board of Supervisors meeting for this date, and thank you all for attending.